We were asked to leave Nassau Open MRI today. No comment about the Wednesday incident that saw a 61-year-old suffer critical injuries after walking in on an MRI in progress.
When that door is closed, everyone knows not to enter. That's surprising.
Nicole Ham says she's a patient here and calls the incident insane. The victim, police say, was wearing a large metal chain around his neck. The MRI's powerful magnet grabbed hold of that chain and pulled the unidentified man into the machine.
If this was a chain that was wrapped around the neck, I could imagine any kind of strangulation injuries that could happen, asphyxiation.
This Northwell Health doctor had no direct knowledge of the incident, but she pointed out that the power of MRI magnets is the reason patients must remove all metal objects before any exam.
We're in zone 2 right now. This is the patient holding area.
Today, this North Shore University Hospital radiology technician showed us the layers of security
Gentlemen, how are you?
put in place here to keep unauthorized visitors out of the MRI examination rooms.
The technologists are responsible. Anybody that tries to come in here, they're the gatekeepers to stopping anyone from coming in.
Charles Winterfeld says although MRI magnets are strong enough to move a wheelchair, he's surprised a simple metal chain could have resulted in such a serious injury.
For example, this would probably be attracted, but it would probably just pull up and I could hold this from, it wouldn't rip off my neck.
A big surprise. Huge. Unbelievable. I can't believe it.
What's up out there, YouTube? This is James coming back at you with another informative video. I hope you guys are doing well out there on this hot Thursday. I'm doing pretty good myself. This is a tragic accident that happened in Long Island at a NASA Open MRI in Westbury. Okay? Last Wednesday when you had Keith McAllister, 61 years old, all right, got sucked into one of these things because he had on a 20-pound chain. His wife said the reason why he was actually wearing that chain is because he was strength training, and I guess he was just walking around with it basically to build strength. Okay, and that's what it is. But the thing is this, his wife was at this open MRI to get a knee MRI, you understand, and she got the MRI and everything. And while the technician could not get the woman off the table by himself, what he did was actually, or he or she, went and got her husband, okay? Never once telling this man that you're gonna have to remove that chain before we go in this room, okay? So-called forgetful. This is what the man's, Keith McAllister's 20-year-old daughter basically informed people on the GoFundMe, you know. And it's a tragic accident, you know what I'm saying? It's a shame. But you know who I fought? I fought the so-called professional, because the professional should have known to tell this man, you're gonna have to take the 20-pound chain off, you know what I mean? Because if you don't, you can get sucked into this thing. And the thing is this, they left Mr. McAllister, you know, in that MRI for at least an hour before they even removed him. How crazy is that? But what I want us to do is hear, you know, the wife's perspective as to what happened. Okay, and that's just what it is. So without further ado, let's check that out.
A devastating incident inside a Long Island MRI center. A man killed after being pulled into an MRI machine while wearing a heavy metal chain. His wife, who was in the room, witnessed it all. She told reporter Cecilia Dowd that staff ignored obvious safety protocols.
I saw the machine, snatched him around and pulled him into the machine. He died, he went limp in my arms.
Adrienne Jones McAllister says her husband, Keith McAllister, died after he was sucked into an MRI machine at Nassau Open MRI in Westbury.
I haven't been able to sleep. I'm barely eating. I just can't believe. I still can't wrap my head around the whole thing. He waved goodbye to me, and then his whole body went limp.
Adrian said after she'd had an MRI on her knee Wednesday, she needed help getting up. She said she asked the technician to get her husband.
And I yelled out Keith's name, Keith, come help me up, come help me up.
She said the technician went to get her husband and brought him into the room, despite the fact that Keith was wearing a 20-pound chain around his neck with a large lock that he used for weight training.
They were standing there laughing and joking before he even came to the table.
When Keith got closer to Adrian to help her up, she said the unthinkable happened.
In that instant, the machine switched him around, pulled him in, and he hit the MRI.
Adrian says she and the tech tried to pry Keith off the machine, but it was impossible.
I was like, could you turn up the machine, call 911, do something, turn this damn thing off.
Adrian said that this was not the first time she and Keith had been to Nassau Open MRI, and she said he'd worn the big chain here before.
It's not the first time that guy has seen that chain. They had a conversation about it before. Oh, that's a big chain.
Adrian says her husband Keith was a hardworking man who always gave his all. He was 61 years old.
Now, just to give you an idea of how strong these MRI machines are, whether they're open or closed MRIs, check this video out right here.
If you accidentally get pulled into an MRI machine, what will happen? Suppose you throw a folding chair into the opening of the machine. It would be immediately attracted by the strong magnetic force, and no matter how hard you try, you wouldn't be able to pull it out. There was an incident in India where a man carrying an oxygen cylinder passed by an MRI machine, and the cylinder was instantly pulled in. He got trapped between the machine and the oxygen cylinder, which resulted in broken ribs. This is because an MRI machine is essentially an extremely powerful magnet with a magnetic force 50,000 times stronger than Earth's magnetic field. Therefore, when you undergo an MRI, your doctor will strictly require you not to carry any metal items and will be particularly careful if you have any metal implants in your body, such as steel plates, pacemakers, or dental implants. If you have any of these metal objects, you will not be able to undergo the scan.
Now, with all of that knowledge of an open MRI or a closed MRI, you know, and of the dangers that it could cause, you mean to tell me that the technician didn't know that? You see what I'm saying? And then the wife said they even discussed the chain before. You see, they discussed it. Well, it looks like a very heavy chain. You know, it seemed like to me the technician knew, but Mr. McAllister didn't. And I'm sure if he did knew, he would not have walked into that room with that 20-pound chain on. He was walked into a trap, as far as I'm concerned. Look, rather it was intentional or not intentional, it was still a trap. And it was up to the professional technician to tell him, you got to remove the chain. And that's just what it is. I want to wish my sincere condolences for the loss to the bereaved family of this man right here. You know, and I can see, you know, a big lawsuit behind this, because it was on the MRI technician to tell this man, you can't walk in there, because if you do, you can be sucked into the machine and it could possibly even take your life. He didn't tell him that. You see what I mean? But this is what it is here in America. There's so many people that just don't take their jobs serious. You know, to the point to where it's costing us lives, it's costing us money, it's costing us time, all kinds of things that is costing us that we really don't deserve the loss of. And that's just what it is, you know. What a shame, what a tragic shame at that. You know what I'm saying? That's all I got on this particular video right here. I want you guys to tell me what you think about this particular situation. I'm interested in hearing your thoughts on it. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. People, please remember to live your life as though we're being watched. Simply because we are. This is James, and I'm out. Peace.